Welcome into the Commanders Report mailbag this week. I cannot wait to answer your questions on the burgundy and gold. I'm sure with the NFL draft coming up here, there's going to be plenty of stuff on that. Maybe some quarterback, debate a little bit. I can't wait to break it down with you guys here in just a second. But first, if you want to join our family here at the Commanders Report, we try to give you guys the most interactive Commanders fan community on the platform here on YouTube. We have a great community of Commanders fans. We have a weekly live show where we do these mailbags every Thursday, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you want to have your voice heard on the channel, these mailbags are your choice, is your opportunity to do so. We film them every single Thursday, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you want to join us, have your voice heard, get your questions on the show, all you have to do is click that subscribe button and join us every single Thursday at 5 p.m. All right, now let's get into the questions here, starting with my man, Jonathan Taylor. Says, hello, Jack. I was wondering what are the odds the Commanders sign another free agent because we still got money. I appreciate you so much. Thank you. Thank you, Jonathan Taylor, for your support, my man. Sign another big name free agent. I'm not so sure. It seems like they kind of got the guys that they like. I mean, I would still like to add Stephon Gilmore. I would love to have him as a mentor for Emmanuel Forbes. But they got Michael Davis, and it seems like that's the guy that they wanted, and that's fine. But I just can't see them making another big splash signing. I think that they're really going to try to build through the draft, and maybe after the draft, maybe they'll get somebody at a position of need. Maybe we'll see how that goes. But if you're looking for another big splash move from Adam Peters and Dan Quinn here, I don't see that happening before the NFL draft. Then we go on from Kenny Strasser. What's up, Kenny? Says, what made you switch from Maye to Daniels as the better option at 2? Please, I agree, Jayden is the better pick. So what made me switch is at the beginning of the process, I always watch 2 games on each quarterback. All right, and then I add more as the process goes on. The 2 games I watched from Drake Maye, my first 2 games that I watched, they were his best games from last season. And when I revisited the film and I went through the rest of his season, I mean, there's just a lot of bad throws, and there's a lot of inaccuracy, and there's a lot of bad footwork. And it's not like the bad throws and the footwork stuff weren't there before, but it was in a lower quantity. It was in a quantity that I was more comfortable with, because Maye has some incredible games where he is making 8 to 10 high-level NFL caliber throws, and he's doing it outside the pocket with anticipation and all this great stuff. And that's the stuff that I fell in love with at first. And then the more I watched with Maye, the more of the missed 5-yard hitches and 5-yard out routes that I saw. And the more I watched Daniels, the more I saw, clean pocket mechanics, clean pocket footwork, accuracy, dynamic rushing ability. And the more I watched, the more I was like, you know what, this Daniels guy, he probably has a higher floor because of the footwork is already polished, because the throwing mechanics are already really taken care of, and he's already a dynamic rusher, which is going to really help him at the beginning of his career. Whereas Drake Maye, I see more as a boom or bust guy where, yes, he still has that high-end ability to throw these really high-caliber throws, but then he's also going to 5 or 6 times a game with his current footwork really just skunk footballs, and that's just something you can't have as your starting quarterback. And make no mistake, the Commanders need a starter heading into next year. I think Daniels is more NFL ready, so that's why I made the switch. Then we got one from Commanders for Life, and he says, if the Commanders were to trade back up into round 1, what would be your preferred options at edge and left tackle? So if they trade back into round 1, let's say they trade up with Seattle at 16. Troy Fontenot, left tackle, would be awesome. Alou Fashanu from Penn State, if he falls to 16, would be an awesome addition. Those would be the 2 guys I would really target at left tackle. Then at edge, Laiatu Latu, Dallas Turner, Jared Verse. Don't really care which one you get, honestly. I love all of them. I think they're all fits with what the Commanders want to do. I'd probably prioritize Laiatu Latu out of all of them because I think he's the most NFL ready, and he's got a dominant cross-chop move that's ready to deploy right away. So those are the guys I would target if I were to trade up. Now, what say you guys? Let me know down there in the comments section. Would you trade back up into round 1 if you were GM Adam Peters? Type TU if you're trading up and probably giving up your 2 second-round picks to do so, just so you guys know. Or would you stay put? Type SP down there in the comments for today's pinned comment. YouTube's going to throw you an ad break here in just a couple of seconds. When that happens, take advantage of that time by answering today's pinned question. Then we got one from John Guns, and he says, what do you think of possibly adding another wide receiver 3 in free agency? Not a ton of guys still available in free agency. I know Tyler Boyd is still available. There's a bunch of different scattered talents out there. I mean, Odell Beckham Jr. is still out there, I guess. Here's where I'm at, man. Terry McLaurin and Jahan Dotson, pretty darn good wide receiver duo. Zach Ertz is a pretty darn good receiving tight end. I think if you can add a wide receiver in the draft, you're feeling pretty good because De'Ami Brown is a decent wide receiver 4 option. I like Mitchell Tinsley as well. So wide receiver, if there's anything here, they need to get somebody with size because their biggest wide receiver right now is Terry McLaurin, and he's 6 foot tall. All right, they need somebody above 6 foot to give them a true presence at X receiver, in my opinion. And I'm not sure if that's Terry McLaurin at this point. Now we got JG here. Says, which is the higher draft priority, edge or cornerback? I have to say edge. Cornerback, you get Michael Davis. You still have Emmanuel Forbes, who you're still hoping develops into a number 1 corner. You still have Benjamin St-Juste, who's serviceable. Quan Martin is going to be probably your starting slot corner next year. You drafted him in the 2nd round to do that. So I think it's much more of a need at edge because I like Dorrance Armstrong, but he's not a true number 1 guy. And then Cleveland Ferrell and Dante Fowler Jr., probably more rotational guys in my eyes. So I would say edge rusher for me personally, and more specifically, number 1 edge rusher. Now, before we get to the rest of the questions on today's show, I want to tell you about today's sponsor at PrizePicks. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS or download the PrizePicks app today and use our code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100 today. And PrizePicks has specials for new and returning users alike for the start of the MLB season. Football season is now over, guys. It's been over for a little while, but the action on the diamond is just heating up. Get in on the excitement with PrizePicks, America's number 1 fantasy sports app, where you can turn your baseball knowledge into serious cash. That is, if you know ball. The 2024 MLB season is now off and running, and you can pick more or less right now to make some money from the comfort of your couch while you watch your favorite team play. PrizePicks is very simple to play. All you got to do is pick more than or less than on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. You can get started right now if you haven't already at prizepicks.com/CLNS or download the PrizePicks app today and use our code CLNS for a first deposit match of $100. Pick more or pick less. It's that easy with our friends at PrizePicks. Okay, next question on deck here. We got Demarius Young. What's up, Demarius? Good to see you, man. Says, how many corners do you think they would pick in the draft? I think they'd just probably take 1, okay? Because you have Jartavius, that's going to be in the slot. You have Emmanuel Forbes, he's going to get another shot to start this year. You have Michael Davis, who's a decent starter in the league right now. Benjamin St-Juste is serviceable. So you have some decent depth there. It's not like you don't have depth at the position. You just need maybe just one more piece to kind of round out the secondary and really turn it into something that could be dangerous moving forward and to kind of pair with Emmanuel Forbes on the other side of the defense for the next decade. So it's not like a huge need, in my opinion. Just got to get 1. But once you get that guy and you get the right guy, I think this secondary is going to be pretty darn dangerous. Let me go on from Greg Milton. What's up, Greg? Says, do you think behind the scenes the Commanders brass think they need to win right away? No, I don't. I think that they would obviously love to win right away, but I don't think it's super, super urgent, okay? You're just bringing in a new head coach. You're going to be bringing in a brand new rookie quarterback, all right? There's going to be an adjustment period, most likely, unless you're like the Houston Texans last year where everything falls into place year 1, which is incredibly rare in this league, by the way. I mean, it's possible, but I would say it's more likely going to be like a year where you got to take your lumps as an organization, as a team, and as a quarterback. And then in year 2, that's the time where you really ascend to where you could be as an organization, as a team, and as a quarterback, all right? So I think it's probably going to be a year of exciting optimism, and then in year 2, that's when things really start to kick in, and it's time to win some football games and really start competing. Then we go on from Tank. Says, if Jayden Daniels is the pick at number 2, does he get us to the playoffs in his rookie year? Kind of similar to the question we just had. I don't think so. But it's possible. I think Jayden Daniels, let's put it this way. Daniels gives you the best shot to go to the playoffs out of any of the quarterbacks that are going to be available at 2. Caleb Williams is going to be going number 1, so he's not there. Out of all the guys available there, I think Jayden Daniels gives you the best chance to make the playoffs in 2024. Not only, again, next season in 2024, but also in the years to come. I think Jayden Daniels has super high upside, and he would be a candidate for Offensive Rookie of the Year if he came here to the Washington Commanders. And let me know down there in the comments section, would Jayden Daniels lead the Washington Commanders to the playoffs in year one of his NFL career? I'd certainly love to see it, but let me know if you think it's a possibility. Give me a yes or no down there in the comments section if you think Daniels can get this team to the postseason. Let me go on from Eugene. It says, will Washington announce a name change after the draft for the 2025 season? It's possible. We've talked about it on the show quite a bit, actually. There's some interesting names. Magicians, the Washington DCs. I mean, there's some bad names out there on the betting markets, man. I'm not going to lie. But there's also some good names. Red Wolves, Red Hogs, some other names out there that I really like. But I'm not sure, man. Obviously, I think that their priority right now is to build a winning football team. And once they're able to do that, then they'll kind of figure all that other stuff out. They're currently trying to figure out a stadium deal. That's probably taking up a lot of their time and energy. So I do think they will change the name eventually. The fan base just freaking hates it, and arguably for good reason. It's not a good name in my opinion. But at the end of the day, man, it could be a couple years before they end up making that switch. Then we got on from C-Bear, and he says, ideal day 2 targets in the NFL draft. So we actually have a full video on this on the channel right now. Day 2 draft targets is literally the title of this. So after today's video, go ahead and check that video out because I break down every position of need for the Commanders, everybody that they could draft on day 2 of the draft, round 2 and 3. So make sure you go check that one out. But just some quick names for you. I'd love to trade up for Kool-Aid McKinstry at the top of round 2 if he's there. That'd be awesome. Darius Robinson out of Mizzou would be a really good fit. Let's see. Jordan Morgan, Arizona offensive tackle, would be awesome there at the top of round 2 as well. And then a bunch of good corners as well. So I'll refer you to that video. I'll actually put that right here so you guys can check out that video because there's a lot of information on there and I don't have time to go into it all right now. So make sure you guys like the video right now if you haven't already. If you are a Commanders Report real one, you watch our shows, you appreciate what we do for you here, giving you guys free premium Commanders coverage right here on YouTube. Clicking that thumbs up icon really does help us out. Tells the YouTube algorithm to push this video out to other Commanders fans like yourselves. So if you want to help us grow, you want to help us become the biggest Commanders YouTube channel here on the YouTube platform, do me a favor, click that thumbs up icon right now. Then we go on from Brian Smith. What's up, Brian? Says, who will win a Super Bowl first, Commanders or Eagles? I don't want to hear from the Eagles fan. I think he's talking about producer Chip here. What do you think, Chip? I'm going to say Commanders because, like I said, the Eagles are doing this right now, and all I see at the Commanders is rising, all right? New head coach, new quarterback coming in. I got to say, man, I think the Commanders are winning one before the Eagles.
I don't want to hear that, man. I don't want to hear that. Commanders fans, look, I get it. You got this new group coming in. It's exciting, new quarterback. Ron's gone, whatever, this and that. The Eagles are still, listen what I'm saying here. The Eagles are still one of the top teams in the league. I don't care if the end of the season was rough. They were just in the Super Bowl. They can get back there as easily as this year. The Commanders have nothing that scares me in the slightest little bit. Look, even if you get Jayden Daniels, you get a Drake Maye, I'm not worried about the Commanders. The Commanders, you're talking about winning the Super Bowl. When's the next time they're going to win the division? I'd be worried about that first, all right? So slow your horses.
Well, I'd be worrying about you and Jalen Hurts right now and A.J. Brown wanted to trade out of there. What about that?
Look, winning.
How's your defense right now? Your defense is bad.
After the draft, it will be better. Guaranteed. Lock it in. Lock it in. We got young guys stepping up. Look, Commanders, good luck, but I don't see it. I don't see it. Give me if I was a betting man.
Producer Chip is just hijacking this mailbag right now, just coming out of nowhere. So boo him in the chat, man. Get down there in the comments section right now and type F Chip a bunch of times. All right, I want to see 1,000 F Chips in the chat right now because he obviously has a big mouth. We need to shut him up right now. So if you hate the Eagles and you think the Commanders are on their way up and the Eagles are on their way down, do me a favor, F Chip down there in the comments section. That'll be it for this week's mailbag, man. A lot of fun this week. Lots of good questions. Make sure you click that subscribe button right now and join us next Thursday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where you can get your question on the next edition of the Commander's Report Mailbag.